African valor, strong and true. Every single thing they do.
Long before stone met steel, there was earth. And in the land of the Edo, that earth was shaped into a fortress, not just of defense, but of destiny. This is the legend of the Great Wall of Benin. The walls weren't built out of fear, they were built to organize life, to manage trade, protect tradition, and preserve sacred orders. For the Edo people, the wall was not just for protection, it was identity. Before kings, the land of Igodomigodo was home to powerful clans and sacred forests. People lived in harmony with spirits and ancestors. The land itself was alive. Oromiyan, a Yoruba prince and warrior, journeyed to Igodomigodo and fathered Ewuare. His coming united tribes and birthed a dynasty. Ewuare, child of legend and diplomacy, became the first Oba of Benin. His rule marked the shift from tribal governance to centralized monarchy. Benin City began to rise with carved road, earthworks, and symbols of divine order. Society was stratified yet unified by the duty of the Oba. The walls were a vision born from the mind of kings. They were not built in one year or one lifetime, they were layered over centuries. Starting from the inner city, the walls spread like veins, encircling communities. Every wall segment was documented, aligned with stars and spirits. The defensive technique was simple yet brilliant. Dig a moat and pile the soil beside it into an embankment. This rampart rose higher than any man. By the 15th century, these walls had sprawled across 16,000 kilometers, enclosing more than the Great Wall of China, an unmatched feat of human will. Inside the walls lay a city planned with intention. Streets ran straight, markets had their place, every district had its duty. At the center stood the palace, a spiritual and administrative core. Here, the Oba ruled, not just a city, but a world. The walls didn't just keep enemies out, they brought people together. During Igu and Yugai festivals, songs and drums filled the air. Queens, traders, priestesses, the women of Benin were pillars of power. They shaped commerce, council, and culture. Benin's artistry was no accident. Craftsmen trained from youth, guides oversaw work with pride and precision. Benin's bronze plaques were not just art, they were history books in metal, telling stories of kings, warriors, and gods. Benin Wall guided a gold mine of trade. Ivory, pepper, coral, and art flowed to Europe, the Sahel, and beyond. Ambassadors from Benin walked the courts of Portugal and Holland. It was a kingdom that looked outward, never in isolation. Oba Ewuare, the master builder, Oba Ozolua, the conqueror, Oba Ezigye, the diplomat. Each king left a mark on the wall and the soul of Benin. In Benin, order wasn't forced, it was tradition. From the farmer to the artisan to the Oba, everyone knew their place in the comic rhythm. The Edo believed in a sacred order, the living, the dead, and the yet to be born, all connected in a divine chain. The wall weren't just physical, they were spiritual boundaries. Protective charms were buried in the key segments of the wall. Priests consecrated the soil with ritual, calling upon ancestors to watch over the city. Well-trained regiments guided Benin, armed with spears, bows, and strategies passed down generations. They were loyal defenders of the land. Market boys like beehives, fishmongers, blacksmiths, coral traders. The wall was not a limit, it was a heartbeat, keeping trade pulsing inside. The walls were lined with sacred symbols, leopards, serpents, birds. Each told a story, each reminded people who they were. At night, the world didn't sleep. Watchmen lit torches and walked the perimeter. The city behind them lay silent, trusting. Then came the foreigners, the Portuguese, the Dutch, curious, intrigued, bewildered by what they saw, Africa as they've never imagined. The Portuguese wrote of a city more orderly than Lisbon. Its bronzes and architecture stunned Europe into silence. But admiration turned to greed. Eyes that was marveled began to convert. Whispers grew louder. Benin must be tamed. In 1897, British soldiers stormed Benin. The city burned, the palace looted, the sacred walls breached. Thousands of artifacts, bronzes, ivories, marks were stolen, carried to museums where they remain even now. Benin was annexed, its Oba exiled, its pride buried beneath ash. The walls stood cracked and silent. Yet, in forests and memories, story continued. Songs told of Obas, warriors, and the walls that once breathed. For decades, museums displayed Benin heritage, but descendants began to ask, what is stolen can be returned. New generation rebuild a pixel and code, virtual walls, 3D palaces, a memory reborn in digital form. In 2021, the tide turned. Some bronze came home, a spark perhaps for a greater return. Plans rise in Benin to house the returned. The Edo Museum of West African Art, a home for what was taken. The walls may be fractured, the Obas may have changed, but the spirit of Benin, proud, inventive, resilient, lives on. Benin teaches us civilization is not a Western gift, it is an African birthright. We were kings, builders, scholars, still are. The Great Wall of Benin still stands in minds, in art, in every story told under the star. They remind us where we come from and where we are going. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more animated African legends, hidden histories, and stories of greatness they never taught us. We'll see you in the next one.